Happy Monday, everybody. We are back for another Monday Miracle. And this time we are talking about a 14-year-old, so a little bit of a quote-unquote older kiddo, who we are seeing who is struggling with social environment, anxiety, depression, and some regulation, emotional regulation, and meltdown tantrum issues as well. And this is something that had been going on for a while, and it got pretty serious at one point. And so mom and dad were looking for, hey, what else can we do, right? She's on medications, but it wasn't really working. And also she didn't want to take the med because it made her feel like she was kind of like a zombie. And that's always the interesting part about working with these older kiddos is they have a lot to say, right? About how they feel, about what they want to do, what they don't want to do. And so we really work to get them involved in their care. So when they come in for that first visit, we talk to the parents, right? Because parents have oftentimes more that they're willing to share, but we got to talk to the kiddo as well. When they start getting to that 12, 13, 14, maybe even a little younger, depending on the kid, we want them involved. And so we asked her, hey, what are your goals for care? And one of the big things that she said that's starting to happen as part of our Monday Miracle is she said, I just have a hard time taking what's in my head and being able to communicate it. And so, that resulted in a lot of social anxiety. We had a lot of, like I talked about, some tantrums and meltdowns from a bit of an older kiddo because when they start to get older, they know what's going on, but she couldn't communicate it. And so the reason why is because there was just an overwhelm of stress in her system. And so we did our nervous system scans and we were able to find, there's a lot of stress in there. And what we tend to see with older kids is there's some shutdown going on as well in their nervous system because when the stress has been in there for such a long time, because typically we see it starts at an early age, it really gets in there and it gets in there and it's really sticky. Stress is sticky. And so it gets in there and our nervous systems and our bodies are so adaptable that they kind of try to figure it out, but they don't get rid of it. They just compensate and adapt to it. And that can work totally fine in the short term. But in the long term, that causes the body to overwork, to expend more energy, and eventually start to get exhausted and fatigued. And so that's when we start to see some of the depression come in, right? Anxiety is usually more higher energy. Depression is that lower energy. And that's what one of our tests is able to test is, hey, how much energy is in the system? And sure enough, we did find some areas of higher energy where energetically she's kind of on edge. And when we talk about anxiety or tantrums and meltdowns, a lot of times we see that those kiddos are lots of energy just bouncing around in their body. And so any little thing can easily set them off, right? But we also found some areas of low energy where her system has been running on high energy for so long that it's exhausted and it's fatigued. And so we have to work on that. And so that is where we a lot of times see that posture, right? And they kind of are looking down or slumped posture, not much energy, not sleeping very well, not interacting very well with friends or family or anything like that. And so when we get to the results of this Monday Miracle, we're noticing she's sleeping better. She's in bed by 9:30 p.m., sleeping through the night. Improved focus and connection. Posture, walking with the head up more. She walks into the office, there's more eye contact, there's more interaction. And they're noticing that not only at home, but at school as well. She joined an art club, which is a huge thing for her, right? This kiddo's starting to go out of her comfort zone. Huge. Raising her hand more in class, right? Willing to try new things, new foods, new activities. And then when we get to the outbursts and big emotions and the regulation there, mom said they've started to see less of it. And it's just been more easy to redirect. Transitions was just not her thing. And we see that with a lot of kids. Why? Because when we are stressed, something new or different is not what we want to do, right? Take it yourself as an example, right? When I'm stressed and all of a sudden something new comes my way, it kind of throws me off my routine, I'm not going to react the best to it. These kiddos are just functioning in a high stress mode. So we got to get them out of that stress mode and allow them to be more adaptable and more resilient to anything that comes their way. And transitions is certainly one that we see a lot. So how does this happen? The vagus nerve is this nerve that is responsible for calming the body. We've known that for a long time, but there's a lot of new research out there talking about how important it is in social and emotional regulation as well. And that's really big picture what we're working on for so many kiddos in here. And that nerve starts right up here in the upper neck and it comes all the way down through the body. So that area, when there's stress up top here, and we see stress get in there a lot of times from even the birth process, right? They have to literally grab kiddo and pull them out by their head and neck. That's where we see it a lot. We can also see it get in there from all sorts of different ways. And our scans are going to pick up on that. So when that nerve is affected, now those functions are affected and it starts to make things a lot harder. Any questions, send them our way. Have a great rest of your week.